Is $6,500 truly worth the cost when we're talking about the Sasquatch package? Yes, it looks cool, but let's put it in a real world test in today's video.
We are going to throw both of these Broncos in this real world environment, the snowy environment that we are in, to see if that Sasquatch is all it is cracked up to be when it comes to day-to-day living.
Hello everybody and welcome to Performance on Wheels. My name is Austin. My dad Todd and I, we make all types of different car videos on all types of different cars. Now you guys have really been enjoying some of our recent Bronco videos. However, 97% of our viewers have yet to hit that subscribe button. So please support this father-son team and hit that subscribe button now. Without wasting any more time, let's see which one is the better buy and truly the better Bronco. The Sasquatch package or the non-Sasquatch package. And today, this 7 inches of snow proves for the perfect test plan. So let's get after it. First up is going to be a test of acceleration. What is it like to go up a hill of unplowed snow, around 7 to 10 inches of snow? We're going to send the Sasquatch up on your guys' left and the non-Sasquatch up on your guys' right. Both of these vehicles are in 4 high. We are simply going to see which one goes through the snow easier, quicker, and makes its way right on up the hill with no issues. Let's find out. Wow, I am really struggling. I am really struggling. Foots to the floor.
Is there any difference with a little less snow with no incline when we go in a straight line here between the Sasquatch and non-Sasquatch?
Go. I'm really struggling. If you guys could not tell, in both tests, I was in the Sasquatch Bronco. And if you could not tell, I was also kind of struggling to keep up with the non-Sas version, and I think a big part of that is in snow, that wider track of tire definitely limits the acceleration and braking. It almost makes it worse.
It absolutely does, and there's something to be said there. You always think that you have the bigger, the taller, the badder Bronco or any vehicle, and you think you can do more. The reality is when you get into a snow environment, everything changes. You want a skinny tire. Obviously, ground clearance helps you in just about every situation. There's no denying that. If you're off-road, if you're rock crawling, that clearance is what saves the day there. And now the only thing that the clearance is going to do for you in this situation is if the snow is high enough that you have no more ground clearance. Other than that, a skinny tire or the non-Sasquatch Bronco is going to be just as effective in a snow day-to-day basis compared to a Sasquatch. So a lot of people are going to go into this thinking, wow, that was kind of impressive. If we go out on a trail and if we go over rocks, as long as ground clearance is not the issue, we might have a similar result.
But the snowstorms don't come on every single day here in this state or any other state. So let's go take these out onto the road and see what it's like to be behind the wheel of these things on day-to-day driving conditions. Starting off in the non-Sasquatch Bronco. Man, this thing is super quick, and it's such an easy vehicle to drive. You know, compared to the Jeep Wrangler, which I love the Wrangler, and I know it's super off-road capable, these are just so easy to drive on a day-to-day basis. It's just like you're driving a standard, normal SUV. It's not clunky, it's not loud, it's not overbearing to drive. The steering feels great with it just being the standard rack and pinion. It's just so nice to drive on a day-to-day basis. It's comfortable. It's easy, quite frankly. There's no part of it that I don't think any person out there could just get in and drive this thing. It's not overly tall. It's not overly dramatic with body roll and body movements. It's so easy. Now, can we say the same thing about one with the Sasquatch package, however? You know, you're getting a pretty dramatic lift. You're getting much bigger wheels and tires. Let's hop in it and find out. However, just one more thing right before we hop into the Sasquatch. I was really surprised going through some of that deep snow. I briefly drove the non-Sas in some deep snow as well. It's just crazy what that narrow tire does inside that snow. This thing drives so much easier. It stops so much easier. This is better in a deep snow climate than the Sasquatch Bronco is, just simply because of the width of the tire. It just makes such a difference. It's kind of crazy. Behind the wheel of the Bronco with the Sasquatch package on it. Now, right off the bat, you would think that the 35-inch tires would make for a really loud cabin or increase the road noise quite a bit over not having that Sasquatch package. However, you would actually be mistaken. It runs, drives, and goes down the road pretty much the exact same as it does without the Sasquatch, even though the tires are significantly larger. The road noise isn't bad. It's still very comfortable, still very manageable down your normal day-to-day driving. However, what is different, surprisingly, is the acceleration. Now, it just feels quite a bit more sluggish having those big wheels and tires and having so much more rotating mass going on. It's not nearly as quick as it is without those 35s. At least the way that it feels is not nearly as quick or not nearly as peppy. But it does feel like you're up a bit higher. It definitely feels like you're more on top of the road. You're in a more manly or aggressive vehicle, however you want to describe it. It definitely feels like it's got a little bit more bark to its bite.
And don't just come into this video thinking that today is the first time we have ever driven a Sasquatch and a non-Sasquatch Bronco. We have tons of other videos on our channel driving all types of different Broncos. In fact, we have actually owned 2 separate Broncos, one of which being a non-Sas and one of which being a Sas Bronco. So our opinions and our thoughts and facts actually come from owning these vehicles and driving them on a day-to-day basis, not just quick grabbing a couple of vehicles from Apple Autos and throwing a video together.
Let's understand what you get with that Sasquatch versus the non-Sasquatch. There is the obvious difference of tire size, the 35-inch tire size versus the either 32 or 33 non-Sasquatch tire. This is the city slicker tire that you can get here in the Outer Banks. But ultimately, we also don't get any locking front or rear differentials in the non-Sas, where we do get that. And those are some pretty cool tricks to have in your toolbox if you play in the mud, if you play off-road. But those are a tool in the toolbox that doesn't take away from, this is still a very capable off-road vehicle. We did experience that out on the Bronco off-road rodeo, showing the differences of the stay bar disconnect and the electronic differential. So there is differences there, but those are tools, and we fully saw that. You can still have a good time without them, but they are tools that make you more capable. The other things to note is there is a steeper, taller rear end, a higher gear ratio in a Sasquatch Bronco versus a non-Sasquatch Bronco. A lot of that steeper gear ratio is for those 35-inch tires, but obviously that will change your driving experience as well as your fuel economy a little bit. On the non-Sasquatch, you could, depending again on your driving habits, expect anywhere from a 2 to 3 mile per gallon increase by not having those bigger tires. That is assuming you have the same engine and everything else is the same. You just take away the bigger tires and that gear ratio difference.
So to sum all of what he just said up, in reality, if you're going to push these vehicles off-road, the Sasquatch package is a huge bang for your buck, in the sense that if you ever buy this and want to upgrade it to have some of what the Sasquatch package has, you simply are never going to be able to do it or even get close to matching the price that Ford offers straight out of the factory for those locking diffs, for that stay bar disconnect, depending on the trim. You just can't do it in the aftermarket world. So if you're planning to push these vehicles off-road, 100% that package is a huge bang for your buck. However, if you're going to be driving this vehicle around town, just driving it on a day-to-day basis, this thing is still super capable. It's able to go on some off-road trails. You can easily still take it out crawling. It might not be able to go over some of these crazy articulations like the Sasquatch can and be able to drop down one of its front tires to even get more grip down onto the gravel. However, this thing is going to be able to do almost everything that can, and even if you put a bigger set of wheels and tires or have a second set sitting around, that will be able to keep up just fine with the Sasquatch package. Let me know your thoughts on the Sasquatch versus non-Sasquatch package down in the comments below, because I'm genuinely curious. But for 6,500 bucks, I think I gotta go Sasquatch package all day.
We've put around 40,000 miles on our current Sasquatch, the Wild Track Bronco, and that's not without issue. Nothing to do with the Sasquatch. Make sure you check out that video if you're curious about longer term Bronco ownership. That Bronco has the biggest and baddest suspension right underneath the Raptor, the Haas 3.0. Now this one has the Haas 2.0. The way you can tell is you peek your head around the front wheels or the rear wheels, and if you see a Fox shock, you will know that that is the Haas 3.0, and if you see a yellow Bilstein shock, you will know that is the Haas 2.0. Now the suspension is slightly different on the non-Sasquatch package, but from a ride standpoint, this thing drives essentially like a car with a little bit of body roll. I like the pep that the non-Sasquatch has. They're a little bit rowdy with the 2.7. That's a good like power to weight ratio. They're fun to drive. Both of them are fun to drive, but it is a little bit more zippy. So on a day-to-day standpoint, yeah, you don't sit up as high and you can feel that from behind the wheel, but what you can do is easily maneuver in and out of parking spots, and you don't have to worry about those low clearance parking garages. So there are some benefits to not having those bigger tires. And down the road, if you think about tire replacement as well as additional brake wear, it's going to be less on the non-Sasquatch Bronco.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video today here on Performance on Wheels, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time. So be sure to comment down below on your thoughts between these two Broncos and what video you would like to see next out of our Bronco series. See you guys next time.
We put them both into 4 low here, both the Sasquatch and non-Sasquatch. All we're gonna do is let our foot off the brake and see if either vehicle gets further in this unplowed snow. And 1, 2, 3. That was pretty uneven.